All right, welcome everyone. Today we are kicking off part two of the Agentforce World Tour series, which is all about Copilot and Data Cloud. I would like to invite Joe again to introduce himself and lead the session. Joe, over to you.
Perfect. Thank you. Hey guys, my name is Joe De Oliveira. I'm a senior Salesforce admin for a company called Whiteboard Risk. I've basically been doing Salesforce for coming on 8 years now. Um, I'm 23 and I live in Houston, Texas. And basically, today, what we're going to be doing is implementing and configuring the internal agent for Agentforce. So I think formerly known as Copilot. Um, so if you guys want to check the chat, I've dropped a link that has a couple links in it for the agenda. And let's head over to that start here link and then provision your org. Basically, it's going to take you to a trailhead module. All we need to do from that module is get the org. So click on that quick, the deploy the Coral Cloud sample app, and then at the very top of that page, it's going to say, can you receive an email at your email? It's going to send you an email with a link. That's going to prompt you to reset your password for the org. And once you've done that, you can basically close out that trailhead link and head back to the Agentforce workshop um, self-service setup page. And then I'll share my screen for this. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
Joe.
Cool. So we're going to be on this page. So after you've provisioned your org, we're just going to copy this link and head back over to the org and paste that in after .force.com and enter. And we're going to install this for admins only. Say yes. That might take a minute or two. And then let me just pull up the slide deck for you guys. Just kind of give you an intro about what we're going to do and accomplish today. You know what's funny? Salesforce will like send you slide decks, but since they use their Salesforce fonts, you can't actually open them. You have to like make a copy and stuff. Cool. I got that pulled up. Is everyone good on the install so far? Were we able to get that managed package installed? If not, just let me know and I can kind of wait for you.
Yeah, so if you have any questions, guys, please use the chat. Then Joe can answer them after the session. If not, you can raise your hand.
Cool. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, Joe.
Cool. Okay, cool. So today we're going to be going over a workshop. We're going to basically implement the internal agent or Copilot. Um, let's hop into it. Cool. So where did agents sort of come from? They've been derived from originally from chatbots, right? And that's when you kind of had to say, if somebody says this, you respond with this or you do this, right? It was very structured and it was very limited in what you could do um, based on sort of nuance in the conversations that people would have with it. From that, we kind of developed Copilots, and that was a little bit better, but it still wasn't great. Um, essentially, at that point in time, it was sort of they called it AI, but it really wasn't AI. Um, it was more so just natural language processing, um, but it was still sort of repetitive and sort of limited in what you could do. And now we have agents, right? So agents are autonomous, they're intelligent. I think the key thing here is proactive, right? In terms of setup, there's not a lot of repetition that you need to do in order to get it set up. Um, and on top of that, I think the key use cases for something like this would be things that you would have an assistant do in a sense, right? Somebody else do. Um, not just like an automation that you can trigger with a button, right? But something a little bit more nuanced, like asking it to review your day, right? You can't really have a button for that. So having those sort of it's basically giving you a way to trigger those automations using AI um, in ways that you would with you know natural language and just talking to a person. Sweet. So basically, what agents can provide is a bridge between LLMs and business use cases using natural language, right? Basically, it's organized into two main categories, right? We would say agents, or sorry, actions, the things that it can do, right? On a granular level, the things that it can perform, the tasks that it can do, right? The functionality. Then we have topics, which is basically think of it like a playlist, right? You're giving it a playlist of a set of actions that it can perform for specific things, right? So you might have an account management topic, you might have a case management topic with a subset of actions that would allow that agent to perform necessary tasks for that topic. Um, that could be automations, that could be prompts, that could be uh, invocable Apex actions. The list goes on. But at a foundational level, we have actions, which are the things that it can do, and we have topics, which is basically a playlist for those actions. Agents orchestrate actions using LLM reasoning. That's called the Atlas Reasoning Engine. Um, and for the most part, you're grounded. You're grounding that agent and what it can do based on your enterprise data. Um, so it's trained using guardrails. What that means basically is there's a lot behind the scenes that you can't see to prevent things like bias, to prevent things like toxicity, to prevent things like um, basically like prompt injection, right? Prompt injection attacks. And then finally secured by the trust layer. What that does is essentially it's going to let's say I ask it to summarize a case for me, right? And let's say that person's name is sensitive data. What it's going to do is basically scramble that name, send the same prompt over to the LLM. Once it gets that response back, it's going to piece back together that encrypted name. So the LLM's actually never receives the name because it's encrypted. Sweet. So the 5 attributes of an agent, essentially the role. So what job they should do, right? What sort of on a high level, right? What is their function? The second would be data. So the knowledge that they can access, right? So the things that they can source data from to provide and assist the user to accomplish what the user's asked. The third thing would be action, so the capabilities that they have. Um, that's basically what we talked about earlier with the topics and the actions. Um, there's a lot that goes into that. That's kind of the key part of that, or the key part of agents, in my opinion. Then we have guardrails. So basically, what they shouldn't do, like we talked about earlier, that toxicity, the the toxicity, bias, and then a great example of this would be don't mention the record IDs in your response, right? And then finally, the channel. So where they do work. That could be on, for a service agent, that could be on your Experience Cloud site or your website. For Copilot, that's in your org. For the SDR agent, that's going to be in emails, right? Sweet. This is a pretty high level explanation of, or high level diagram of the Atlas reasoning engine. I don't want to get into this too much because that might confuse some people, but basically what it's doing is it's selecting the appropriate actions based on the input and the prompt that it receives, right? So if you ask it to do something, it's selecting and sort of planning out how to accomplish that in the most effective way with the most appropriate topics and actions. Sweet. So this kind of just a high level explanation. So if you ask it, can you summarize this case? Out of all of the available actions that it has access to, it might only select these two, right? If you were to say, can you book, so if you have for the snorkeling, a tropical snorkeling experience, right? Out of the 20 available actions, it might select 4 because there's a lot more that it needs to do in order to surface that response. So there is a lot more standard actions now than there used to be. I believe there's something like 47. Those are split into specific cloud actions, as well as just overall platform actions like searching, summarizing, things like that. And we can invoke these actions, I believe, 5 different ways now. So we have prompt templates, flows, external services, Apex, and now we have API. I believe that's what they're referencing here is external service. And okay, sweet. That's my little slide deck done. Spiel is over. So if you guys want to hop back into this setup document, I'm gonna basically go through this and just assign the permissions and stuff. So after we've installed it, um, we're going to head over to setup, clear all of the sort of onboarding stuff first, and we're gonna go to permission sets. Cool. And we're gonna say manage assignments. And assign it to ourselves. Cool. So that's been assigned. Sweet. Now let's head over to our app launcher and just type in sample and then head over to sample data import. And this is really important, guys. So if we don't do this, nothing's going to really work. So import sample data. Just let this run. Sweet. So that's done. And now we're good to go. That's it. In terms of setting up the org, we are good. Sweet. Is everyone good on that so far? Let me know if you're not, and I can kind of just wait. Let me get my cat in here before he annoys me. He's just screaming at my door. Give me 1 sec. Cool. I'm back. Sorry about that. Is everyone good to go? Sweet. And yeah, guys, if you have any questions, just feel free to ask. I really don't mind. If you need me to slow down, again, just let me know. Cool. So basically what we're going to do today is just explore the pre-built capabilities of the standard actions and basically then extend them with flow and with prompts. We're not going to get into Apex today. So the most important thing would be enabling Einstein. So let's go do that. We're going to basically turn everything on. So let's head over to Einstein setup and turn it on. And might as well just turn these on. While we're in here, because this seems to be a pretty big issue with these dev orgs, let's head over to that Einstein trust layer and just preemptively we're going to turn off the protections. Might need to just refresh your tab. Cool. So yeah, the key thing here would be just turning off the name for a person's name. And just email, might as well. But that's about it. That'll save us a lot of troubleshooting headaches going forward.
How is everybody doing? Are you all following or is it past? Anyone has any question?
If for some reason it is not letting me install, but yeah, you can carry on.
Are you installing for? Did you provision that org from Trailhead?
trial it. Yeah, she Amma sent me a link, so I use that link.
Okay.
Uh, I'm not sure if it could be maybe
Yeah, that is the same thread link from the Notion.
Okay. So when you're in that org, basically head over to that self-service setup and then copy this link. And then what you're gonna do is after um, .force.com. So basically right here, you would paste it in and then enter.
Your
And
screen gone, Joe. Sorry.
what's that?
Yeah, your screen is not sharing.
Oh, my bad.
Mhm.
So basically, what you would do is come into this self-service setup page, and then copy this link, and then in the org after .force.com, you would paste it in. Does that make sense? So it looked like this.
yeah, I did that, and then it asked me to whether I'm installing this app for everyone or admin only. I choose admin only, and
Okay.
I selected the checkbox for like it will be, I mean, third party, whatever that message was showing, and then I clicked install. It buffered, and then I got a message saying that this app is taking a long time to install. I will receive a notification once the installation is completed.
Okay. And
I'm
can you
not
go
sure.
to
Maybe everybody is using installing. So the
no?
no.
Head over to your installed packages and just go see if it's installed. It'll say like Coral Cloud something. If it's still not there, just let me know. Um, for the sake of time, I'm just gonna move on. Okay, sweet. So let's head over to agents, and we're gonna basically enable the agent. Cool. So let's turn on Agentforce. Sweet. And then enable the Agentforce default agent. Cool. So that's been enabled. Sweet. So let's click into this agent and we're going to open in Builder. Cool. You can just dismiss that. Sweet. So let's click on remove from me. Okay. So let's remove that default migration default topic. I think they've already fixed that. Yeah, it's not on here, so we're good. And then let's go new topic. And what are we going to describe this as? Okay, so engages and interacts with the user about any request related to the resort. This could be tasks such as identify and summarize records, answer queries, aggregate data, find and query objects, update records, and or drafting and refining emails. Pretty straightforward, pretty broad too. Cool. Just copy and paste the scope. This is new too, where it basically aggregates your scope and stuff for you. Cool. And then copy that instruction. I'm interested to see what will happen if we just leave these instructions on. Just because this Gen AI sort of agent setup is new. Cool. So once we've done that, let's click next. And what are we selecting here? Okay. So what's funny is when they created this, there was only like 9 actions. And now we have 44 standard actions. So yeah, you can just add all of those actions. We're really going to test the Atlas reasoning engine today. Cool. Once that's done and you've added the actions to the topic, we're going to activate. Cool. Now let's test some of these actions. So we've copied, if you head down to step 4, where copy where it says show me any high priority open cases, and then let's test it out. So let's head over to the Core Cloud Sample app. Okay. Cool. And it's taking its sweet time. Sweet. So now we can see that we have 2 high priority open cases. And that is, yep. Okay, cool. So let's open one of these cases. I guess if we just head back to the home page, we can test this out. Can you summarize the first case for me? Sweet. I'm happy with that response. Then let's test, can you give me an overview of the contact? It mentioned the contact, Sophia Rodriguez. Sweet, and we can see that she's associated with both of those high priority cases. Notice how the response is a little bit different from the screenshot. That's to be expected. There's a few prompts that either have to be activated or configured, or have been reconfigured differently since they've released this documentation. I think that's really about it. I do kind of want to show you this from the back end, so you can kind of see the Atlas reasoning engine at work. So we'll test those same prompts in the agent builder, just so you can see the reasoning and kind of how it comes up with its responses. Sweet, so we got the same response as earlier. It selected the general CRM topic, and these are the available actions. So it selected the query records action, and basically that's how it found those two cases. And this is kind of how it's structured that in JSON format. So what's cool now too, we didn't used to have this, but suggest improvement. That's really cool. Before this was there was no real visibility into changing or reconfiguring the agent response, other than including that in the instructions for the topic. For the action. So now that you can kind of do that retroactively, which is kind of nice. Awesome. Any questions so far? Cool. Okay, sweet. If you guys want to play around with this later, feel free to go through the rest of them. But for now, I think we're going to move on to extending the agent with flow actions. I'll kind of pause for a minute and let everyone wrap up what they're doing. Any questions so far, guys? Feel free to just let me know. Cool. I'm going to move on to step 2 now. Sweet. So basically what we're going to be doing here is extending the agent with a custom action powered by Flow. And this is going to allow the customer service representatives to issue resort credits to guests. So let's head over to Flow. And we're going to select new flow and then start from scratch. And we're going to do an auto launch flow. Cool. Oh, I lost my documentation. Give me one sec. Pull that up again. Cool. So let's create some resources of this flow. We're going to basically just a lot of copy and pasting here. I'm going to do this. Cool. Make sure for the credit ID, you're selecting available for output. That is kind of important. Awesome. So let's add a get records element, or sorry, create records element, and basically just populate that with the label, which is create credit record, and then the description, which is create a credit record, including a contact ID and the amount of the credit. We're going to select the for how to set field values, just select manually. And then for the object, we're going to select credit. Sweet. And then under the set values for the credit, we're going to select contact and map that over to contact ID. And then for amount, we're going to map that over to amount. Cool. And then for manually assigning credit variables, we're going to select the credit ID. So it should look something like this. Cool. So very simple flow. We're going to save this and label this as issue resort credit. And then for the description, we're just going to say issue a resort credit for a contact. Cool. So let's save that. Awesome. Activate. Everyone good on that flow? Let me know if you're not. Happy to answer any questions if you're having some trouble with that flow. Awesome. Let's go share screen. Cool. So we've created that, created and activated that flow. So let's head over to the agent builder. And basically what we're going to do is create a custom action. So let's head over to, by the way, we need to kind of deactivate in order to do this. No, I'm lying. Let's head over to actions. Agent. Okay, that's interesting. So they've changed the label name to assets, Agentforce assets. Cool. So we're going to select new agent action. And for this, we're going to say flow. For the reference action, we're going to say issue resort credit. And for the agent instructions, we're going to, let's see. Yep, that's it. Cool. So for the loading text, this is new, so we kind of have to include this now. So just say issuing credit now, ... You can really put whatever you want in there. Okay, cool. This part is pretty important. So we're going to require the input for both the amount and the contact ID. So let's just select those. And then we're going to say show in conversation for the credit ID. Cool. So we've created that action. And now what we can do is add that to our topic. So let's go do that. We're going to add it to the customer service assistant topic that we created earlier. For this, we're going to have to deactivate the agent and add the action. For this one, what you can just say is add from asset. You're gonna, yep, there we go. Just select add from the asset library, and then make sure you refresh and it will populate. Let's see if we can find it. Okay. Again, you might need to refresh. Sweet. So it's there now. Awesome. So let's try it out. We're gonna basically copy that text, which is issue $100 resort credit to the contact name Sophia Rodriguez. Let's try it out and see if it works. Okay, so just activate your agent and then refresh. If you got the error like I did, just activate the agent and then refresh your tab. Sweet. So the selected text that we said where the loading text was issuing resort credit. You saw that populate. This is interesting. For that, okay, I think I know what happened there. It should basically just give us the link to the record. But where we had that, when we added that action, the when we said showing conversation for the contact ID, we should have changed where it said text. We should just change that to record. But that's not the end of the world. Let's go make sure that that exists. So we're gonna have to add the related list to the contact page in order to see those credits. So related list. And we're gonna say credits. Cool. And just add the fields. So amount and that's really it. Okay, save. Activate. Just assign as org default. Cool, and just make sure you save the page again. Awesome. Now let's head back over to that contact and let's see if we can. Yep, so as you can see, that $100 resort credit has been issued to Sofia Rodriguez. Awesome. Anybody have any questions? Okay. We're coming to time now, but I can quickly show you guys. If you want to join me on this, we can. But there is a second step or a second exercise, which focuses on bulk resort credits. And that way you can kind of see more actions working together to basically provide a solution to the user's input. Do you guys want to take a look at that real quick? We got 7 minutes.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
So that flow already exists. So it's, by the way, on the Agentforce workshop documentation, it's exercise 3. So extending agent actions with flow actions part 2. Awesome. So let's see. So this is the flow. Issue bulk resort credits. It's already been created for you. It's already active. Basically what we're doing is we're...
Joe, do you want to share your screen?
Oh, am I not? Oops.
Yeah, you stopped when you introduced the new exercise.
Cool. So basically what it's doing is it's assigning variables. And then we're going to basically loop through those contact records, and then finally create the credit records. And then for this assignment, we're basically setting the message variable, which is like the confirmation message. So let's head back over to the asset library. And we're going to create a new agent action. Flow for the reference action, and it's going to be the issue bulk resort credits. I don't know why that populated weird, but let's get that on the same line. Issuing bulk credits, ... Awesome. So for these variables, we're going to do the same thing. So require input for the amount and require input for the contact records. this is a collection variable in that flow. It's just a list of the contacts. And then basically for the message, we're going to say show in conversation, and that's going to be text. Awesome. So let's click on finish. I want to try rich text. Let's see what happens. Awesome. So that action has been created. Let's go add it to the agent. So deactivate your agent. Hop into the customer service topic that we created earlier. If it decides to load. There we go, finally. And then let's add that action from the asset library. And it decided to reload. Awesome. Sweet. So we can see that our issue bulk resort credits action is here. Let's add it to the agent and then activate. And then what we're going to do is we can test it out real quick. So let's plop this in here. Issue a $200 resort credit to contacts in Chicago. Anything? I probably have to refresh my page before. Let me do that again. The weird thing is my internet is not slow, so I don't know what's going on. Awesome. Very interesting. Let me try something out real quick. Cool. So it works in the agent builder. Basically, it probably just needed some time to populate in the actual org. So let's see, Frida. Sweet. So you can see that that was that credit record was created for $200 for Frida, who is in Chicago. So if we do this and clear history, and we can try that again now. Sweet. That's about all I've got for you today.
All right, I think the time is up. Do you guys have any questions?
And we timed that pretty well.
Yeah,
Yeah, you did a great job, Joe. Like always.
as usual. Yeah.
Was anyone having any issues? Like I said earlier, those org farm orgs haven't really been maintained the same level as other dev orgs, and the documentation is a little bit outdated. So happy to stick around and answer any questions that anyone might have about Agentforce.
Yeah, so if there are no further questions, we can wrap up the session today. Thank you very much, Joe, for this amazing session. The recording will be available on the Salesforce Dev Group Orlando page, as well as Orlando Admin Group YouTube channel. So next week, we will host the last session of the Agentforce series. It's an in-person event, so if you are able to attend, we would like to see you there. So have a good
Yes.
night.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks everyone. Thanks
Bye.
for coming.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye guys.
You then.
Bye.
Bye.